Good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. I'm here in California, so for me, it is still morning, so play a little nice, put on those soft boxing gloves for me. My name is Dan Jankolan. I am the training manager here at National General on the accident and health side, and Mark asked me to go through some product information for you guys today. I understand that a few of you on the call, I'm just taking a look through the names here, have been up and running with National General for a while and know some of the information. So I'm going to hit some of the products kind of fast and really leave time for you to ask questions as well as go over a few additional resources. So I'll kind of go through what my goal for you guys is today. A little bit about me quick though. I have been in sales training, insurance, all this crazy stuff for about the past 15 years. So I've really been around the block. Feel free to ask questions. If I don't have the answer to that question, don't worry. I will find somebody a lot brighter than myself who can find that answer, and I'll get back to you. So feel free to do questions. If this is your first GoToWebinar though, take a look. It should be on your right-hand side. There's an area for you to be able to ask questions, and then there's also a chat. I have both of those up and going on the left-hand screen over here. A few people have been chatting questions already. That's perfectly fine. That's kind of the goal for today. Also, Mark asked me to go over one thing with you. I have attached it. It's also part of my slideshow today. It is the product guide. I'll tell you that is my first resource for when I have questions. So when I hit it today, it'll also, you can see why it might be your first resource. So I'm going to quickly go over the portfolio. A lot of you know the portfolio, so I'm talking 2 minutes or less on that. We're going to go through plan designs and how they work. Then we're going to go through why supplements help, not really hitting that too hard, but just going over a few case examples, and then just one post-sale slide for additional information your clients may need. Due to the size of the webinar and how many people are on, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put all the questions today into the chat slide. If I opened up the lines for everybody, it would go absolutely nuts. And let me check to see if anybody else, looks like there may be an audio issue. Let me see if that's going to be fixed quick. Let me know if you guys can quickly chat to see if there is an audio issue there on the left-hand side. Okay, 90% looks like they're hearing me fine. So I'm going to assume no. Sorry, guys, if you are the one having the issue. Oh, thank you, guys. You guys are awesome at this. If it is, take a look at the sound on your end. I'll try not to move so much. If you've met me in person, that's really a feat on my end. So quick portfolio. We have a short-term medical product. You guys actually sell a ton of it. So it's offered in both standard and guaranteed issue. When I'm going to say standard and we're going to take a look at it today, I mean, it just has underwriting questions. As far as the guaranteed issue goes though, the one thing that is going to say that's going to knock them out of the guaranteed issue, there's basically one or two things. First is that they're not here legally. The second is that they're pregnant or an expectant father. That will knock them out of the guaranteed issue. Other than that, it's good to go. We do have that Foundation Health, and that is a fixed benefit product that is offered in 3 different levels. It's pretty good. What I do is I mix it with the short term just to help pay for the bills for the short term. They can get really inexpensive. The low end's about $100. We have the Plan Enhancer as well, which you guys absolutely love. And we did do a few changes on that, but really it's just going to be the eligibility changes, as well as our accident fixed benefit, which is a pretty good one, which will give them a fixed dollar amount per accident leveling up there. I got a few questions on why the father. I'm actually going to cover that when we go over it, so just hang tight on that. So as well here we do have the TrioMed, which is a combination product. We'll go through the critical illness. We probably won't really cover it. We may not have time, but that's going to give them a lump sum benefit up to max dollar amount depending on the critical illness, as well as that cancer, heart, stroke product. The one that is not on here would actually be the hospital expense protection, and that one's a pretty popular product. It's like a fixed benefit product that gives them a fixed dollar amount, but there's only basically 4 categories, and we really add that to help pay for doctor visits. It is extremely inexpensive. So here as well, all these products that we are going through today can be purchased as a standalone. So don't worry about having to bundle all of them. The only ones you may have an issue with on that would be the TrioMed in the state of California specifically. I know in my funky state, we are required to have major medical insurance with that. So let's jump in. I'm getting some really great questions on here. So I'm going to go in, and as we hit the products, feel free to ask those questions, okay? This was just an overview. So let's start with the short-term medical. So if you have any short-term medical questions, now's a good time to answer them or to shoot them in. So we have two types here, standard and guaranteed issue. The policy coverages are anywhere from 30 days to 3 months. I will go through how to link those back to back to back to back to do what we call the 3x4 right there. It is available in a lot of states. I got the question popping up, can it be used in any other states? Absolutely. With the short-term medical product here, if they go out of network, the only thing that's going to change is they don't get the network discount. It is a really powerful tool for your clients that if they go out of network, not a big deal. They just don't get that renegotiated rate through that Aetna Open Choice PPO network. They just get whatever the cost of that doctor is going to be. There's no additional deductible and coinsurance or max out of pocket. So as well as here, it does have that lifestyle association. The question popped up, hey, you know what, can they purchase that as a standalone? The lifestyle association cannot be purchased as a standalone, but, caveat, welcome to insurance. But if it ends, so if the short term ends, they can choose to keep the lifestyle association, right? So no, they can choose to keep it, they just can't purchase it right away at the beginning by itself. So I believe that should hopefully take care of that question. Just canceling out a few of those. Thanks for your patience today, everybody. I'm not gonna really hit why the short term. I know you guys know that. Just the one thing I want to hear is that, you know, international students, they can enroll in this as long as they go through and are legally here in the US. 1 second, everybody. Coinsurance options, all these things here. So only thing that you need to know, you guys know how deductibles work, you know how coinsurances, you know how the max out of pockets work. The big thing I want you to know is how the coverage period maximum works. And that means that instead of the lifetime of the consumer, which is how most people do it, so most people have a lifetime max, we have a coverage period max, means for the length of the policy instead of the length of the consumer's life. Keep in mind the policies do max out at 3 months, so it is going to be after the end of the 3 months, they get another $1 million there in the coverage period max. At the end of that 3 months, they're going to get another $1 million there. Here we go. As far as it goes with the deductible and options on the guaranteed issue, there are two builds. The guaranteed issue, as I told you before, right away, the only thing that's going to knock them out for the guaranteed issue is that if they are not here legally. So keep in mind what I mean by here legally is that they're basically on any visa other than a travel visa, right? They just have to legally reside in the US for the duration of their policy. So that's the biggest thing. When will it get checked? It's actually when they file the claim. They're going to check to make sure that they're here legally. We're not going to ask for it at the time of enrollment. The other thing that will knock them out here is if they're currently pregnant and expectant parent in the process of adoption or undergoing infertility treatment. Super technical. The why is because insurance companies, when a child is born, is required to take on the child, and that is what this company is choosing to do to mitigate their risk. So it was a business decision on the company's part. As far as it goes with the network, we are pretty sure on this network that it is going to be, you know, it's the Aetna Open Choice PPO network, one of Aetna's strongest networks here. It has We just updated the numbers for you guys. So 664,000 medical providers and about 5,600 hospitals. So pretty huge network there for you. In the brochure, there's also the network search link. And keep in mind, if your client goes out of network here, the only difference is that they're going to just not get this pre-negotiated rate. I don't know if you remember, if you guys were with me last year, I went through some 2015 numbers. We don't have the 16 or 17 yet, but our average negotiated discount rate was right around 50% in 2015. Let's go through how a few of these benefits work. People are posting questions, so instead of answering those, I'm just going to go through it. If your question is answered, awesome. If not, I will make sure to cover that. So first off, doctor visits benefits. They are subject to deductible and coinsurance. So the great news is when a client goes in, they can use that Aetna Open Choice PPO network. That price gets adjusted, and then it goes towards their deductible and coinsurance. There's a little one after that though. So if you take a look at the bottom of the screen there, it's going to say in Colorado, Florida, Ohio, Maryland, New Mexico, Oregon, and Utah, the plan is going to give them one $50 first dollar benefit for a doctor. And that is per person on the policy, per coverage term. What does that mean? That means when the client goes in, let's say the doctor visit is $100. So your client goes in, the doctor visits $100. Aetna negotiates that doctor visit down to, let's say, $70. Then what we're going to do is we're going to give that client $50 towards that bill. So their bill would be then $20. And they get one of those per coverage period, per person on the policy. Here as well with urgent care, it's a personal favorite of mine, and that's what a lot of people like to use this for, is that there's unlimited visits to urgent care. The insured does pay a $50 access fee per visit, so it's kind of like a copay there. And the plan deductible is waived, meaning that we skip over the deductible and the client only pays into the coinsurance there. So it says visit charges are subject to coinsurance. There's a few policies here that actually have 100% coinsurance. So it's going to give your clients ridiculously extra benefits. I highly recommend taking a look at those two. It's a $2,500 and a $5,000 with 100% coinsurance. So keep in mind, as far as it goes with the urgent care, that $50 copay is just for visiting the doctor. So let's do an example. Your client goes, visits the doctor, they're going to have that $50 copay. And then there's labs. Those labs are going to be, if they're in network, readjusted down, but that would be subject to the coinsurance there. As well as emergency rooms, they do get unlimited visits. They do pay a $250 access fee there unless they are admitted. Everything at the ER would be subject to deductible and coinsurance. And with the ambulance, they do get unlimited trips as well, but they get a fixed $250 per trip. Let's jump here into the Life Association. I have a few questions going up on this. So Life Association, keep in mind when your client enrolls, they're going to get two cards. One of them is going to be the short-term card. The other one is going to be their Life Association. Two cards, okay? The short-term card is the one they should use at the doctor. Don't let them present this one at the doctor. That's slightly embarrassing for them. But this one, what it's going to do, it's going to give them access to a special website that has a ton of benefits on there. But there's only really two you should discuss with your client when you're selling over the phone. The rest of them, if you get lost in the weeds, you're going to lose the client. The two big ones here are the telemedicine. So what they do is that they can call a doctor or nurse practitioner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and they can talk about them and they can actually diagnose acute conditions. They can send prescriptions to a local pharmacy down the street, so whatever pharmacy your client uses. They can do everything but narcotics, just to let you know. And my favorite thing here is it's unlimited consultations at no extra cost. Let me check to make sure I answered that question as far as it goes with that. The wild card here is another one. So it is a pre-negotiated savings on prescriptions, vitamins, and more. So basically it's like Google Maps for prescriptions. They can put in their address, the prescription, as well as the dosage, and they can see on a map the cost of the prescription in the local areas. They also get access to hospital negotiations and direct labs, as well as family benefits like a fitness program. They'll have an online oral health consultant, identity theft up to $1 million through AIG, auto discounts, travel services. And see, this is what I'm saying. Don't explain all this to your client because you'll really get lost in the weeds. The two big ones, make sure to hit the telemedicine and the well card. I did have a question here on the ER. So with the ER, what happens is that they go in and everything at the ER is subject to deductible and coinsurance. And there's an additional $250 fee unless they are admitted into the ER. So there's an access fee, super common out there, $250 access fee unless admitted. If they're admitted, that is waived. Question is, can we get access to the well card beforehand? Unfortunately, the answer on that will be no. Okay, so let's move on this one. So short-term plan, state availability. I'm gonna go through one of the questions that popped up on here. So everything that has color that is not red, the short-term product is available at. Everything in gray automatically comes with that association. Those states in blue, they can choose to actually remove the association if they like. Associations are pretty powerful. Every short term out there has an association on it. Associations were originally made to put clients into groups so we can raise their rates or decline them due to usage. Not saying we would do that, but that was the original plan a long time ago when associations were made. So just to let you know, any of the states in blue, they can choose to remove that association. Here's some eligibility for you. So the primary applicant on this policy has to be 60 days old, right? 60 days old, and they can be up to 64 years. Children can stay on the plan up to age 26. And here with the child-only applications, yes, you can do them. So you do 60 days old up to 17 years, child only. The biggest thing about that is put the youngest as primary, and the second one is a dependent, not a spouse. Please don't put married children. It's kind of weird. Eligibility continued, so we talked about this kind of quick. So they have to legally reside in the US for the duration of their coverage. They just can't be enrolled in Medicare, Medicaid, mental disability, or any other federal or state programs. And they can't be covered under other major medical or short-term medical insurance. Now here's the question. So what is the one that is going to knock them out of the guaranteed issue? It's going to be, are they pregnant, an expectant father, in the process of adoption, or undergoing infertility treatment? That will actually knock them out of both. Now that second question down there is going to say if they are over 300 pounds of male or 250 pounds of female. If that's the case, they can enroll into our guaranteed issue. If they can answer no to that question, they get our simplified issue. Have they been hospitalized for mental illness in the past 5 years or seen a psychiatrist? If they answer yes, guaranteed issue. If they answer no, the simplified issue are underwritten. The next question down is 5 years, AIDS or HIV. And then the famous 5-year question. Have they been diagnosed, treated, taken medication for, or experienced signs or symptoms for any of the following? So cancer, heart disease, I'm not going to read the whole list there, but kidney disorder, diabetes, stroke. If they answer yes on that, they get the simplified issue. If they answer no, or if they answer yes, they get the guaranteed issue. If they answer no, they get the simplified issue on that. Don't worry about memorizing these underwriting questions or letting them stress you out. They are available on every application that you will do. And if your client answers unfavorable, all it's going to do is pop up a little red box that says, please go remove this one from the cart and add the guaranteed issue product. So don't wrap your head around these. Focus more on actually selling it. And then afterwards, if they do answer unfavorable, which is going to happen occasionally, just make sure to get them the guaranteed issue at that point. And the nice thing is that it'll give you a warning about it. Okay. Here are the states where the guaranteed issue product is available. This is also available in a little flyer that goes out, as well as an agent guide that I'm going to show you guys here in a few minutes. Limitations and exclusions. So with all short terms here, pre-existing is excluded. So what does that mean? That when we take a look at it, anything that they have pre-X is not going to be paid for the most part. Keep in mind, just the way the policies work, it's a 3x4, so every 3 months, pre-X will not be paid for. Maternity is obviously excluded. Expenses occurred outside the US, its possessions are Canada. Any acts of war, whether declared or undeclared, anything intentional or self-inflicted, mental illness or joint replacement. There is a full list of exclusions on the back of all of the brochures, so feel free to take a look at those if you do have additional questions. And I'll give you an email address. My first thing is always contact your upline. After that, we do have a resource for you. Let's go through the 3x4. So, question popped up, high blood pressure, cholesterol, everything's considered pre-X if they've gone and seen a doctor for it. Just keep that in mind. How many years qualify for pre-X? Technically it's 12 months, but that doesn't really matter because all the policies are 3 months long. As far as it goes for underwriting, they're gonna take a look back 5 years. To pay the claim, they take a look back 12 months, but since the policies are 3 months long, I just say pre-X's are excluded. You don't want to get lost in the weeds with that for your client. Just tell them pre-X's are excluded. So let's jump into the 3x4 for these questions on there. Question came up, what about depression? Well, mental is actually excluded from contracts, so the answer would be yes, that's going to be pre-X. So we're going to jump into the 3x4s here. So with the 3x4 policies, these are great. Okay, so how these work is the customer applies once, has one application fee, and when we issue the policy, we're actually going to be issuing those 4 policies. So we're going to issue these 4 policies. These policies, these next 3 in a row, they're all going to be based off of the eligibility for the first policy. Okay, so the first policy is what we're going to base everything off of. That's what you should focus on. They're going to attest to being eligible for them at time of application. And the pre-existing condition look-back period is based on the first policy's effective date. So let's go through an example quick to hopefully answer questions right away. They have these 4 policies back to back. They are in month 1 on policy number 1, and they fall and they hurt their shoulder. Right? Obviously, we're going to pay the claim for that, but they keep having to seek treatment into policy 2. That's fine. We will keep paying that into the second policy because it's based on the start date of the first policy. Now, keep in mind, if it is something before the start date of the first policy, so like high blood pressure, let's pick on that one. High blood pressure, it's still not going to be paid in policy 3 and 4, but as they have to start using the policies in those policies, we're just going to keep paying it out. Okay. Few other things before I jump into the questions on this. The deductible, the max out of pocket, and the coverage period maximum will reset on each policy, as well as those doctor visits. So they do get that $50 doctor visit. In the state of Florida specifically, 1 per person per coverage period. Their deductible max out of pocket would reset every 3 months. So if they have to use it, that happens. And their coverage period maximum does reset. So they do get that $1 million every time. Plan designs have to be the same for each policy. So all of a sudden you can't go through and say, hey, you know what? I got really sick. I need to change over to $1,000 or $2,500, 100% coinsurance. It's whatever policy they pick, they keep throughout the whole thing. And all members have to be on the policy. If either of those they look to change, it's going to be a rewrite. And as far as it goes, there are some states where it's not available, but your quoting software does tell you that. So don't stress out about that. Question came up about Medicare. If they are on Medicare, first off, the cutoff here is 64 for enrolling, but if they're on Medicare, they are ineligible. They can cancel. Okay, good question there, Carrie. I love it. So the question came up, can they cancel at any time? Absolutely, yeah. With all of our products here, they can call and cancel at any time. That's not a problem. Really good question though. Here's one thing too, before we get too much into the weeds on these questions. With these short terms, I know there's just a ton going on with them, but keep in mind, eventually these laws are going to change. The Trump administration said, yes, your laws are going to change, and we are going through a refiling process. When these policies get refiled and we are ready to launch them, whatever customers you have on the short-term medical policies currently it says customers can keep their current rate. So if you have a customer who's currently on a 3x4 and they're 4 months in, they're going to keep the rate at that 4-month mark when we do this refiling. Whatever amount of the policy they have left, so they'd have 8 months left, we're going to combine into one policy. So their deductibles and their out-of-pocket maximums would no longer reset. Okay. And it says there, the period of extended coverage will align with the short-term package they purchased. Basically, whatever is not used, we're going to combine into one policy. So again, if they've used 3 months, then they're going to get 9 months, a 9-month policy. And they still have the option to cancel it every time. Question came up about renewing knockout questions. When you go to rewrite these policies, they're going to have the exact same knockout questions. The thing about the 3x4 is they're going to attest to the knockout questions on the start date of the first policy. They don't have to go through those. Each additional policy, policy 2, 3, and 4 are guaranteed renewable. So they're not going to go back through the underwriting process on policy 2, 3, and 4. We only do the underwriting policy for the policy once on the start date of that first plan. Ooh, you guys are keeping me on my toes today. I'm loving it. I'm happy I took B12 and drank coffee before you. Okay, let's see what else we have going on here. Enrollment, some things have changed here. So the coverage can start as early as the next day. So no longer limitations there about it being 29, 30, 30. Nope, they can start as early as the next day. Keep in mind they can link the policies back to back up to 4 times depending on the state. The initial payment for all of our policies here is going to be drawn at time of application. Everything's going to be drawn at time of application for the first month's premiums. The payment options, monthly recurring payments. That's what I recommend for everything out there. Monthly actually has the strongest retention rates for basically any product in the insurance industry, it seems. Monthly, they can do it. Their payment will be drawn 5 days before their month anniversary. It's a really weird word, but basically if the policy starts on the 6th, we're going to draw the payments on the 1st. They can do a single payment option if they have only up to an 89-day policy, but the payment's not refundable. I'm not a big fan of single payments. Personally, I don't do them unless the client absolutely asks. And the forms of payment are going to be checking, savings, Visa, MasterCard, or Discover, so no Amex. Cancel. Oh, so a question came up. Yeah, Michael, they can actually cancel at any time. That's not a problem at all. But there is on all insurance products and health insurance a 10-day free look period. So that's why that's there. So don't get those too confused. The 10-day free look is basically they refund everything. The one in the agent guide, which I'm super happy you're looking at, and you have a smiley right now, that one just states that it would be up to the usage date. So you're right. They can cancel at any time up to the usage date. But I would recommend personally with these, don't let your clients cancel. I mean, you don't ever want your client to go uninsured. That is such a hardship on them. If you're talking to your client and they're going to say, well, it's either between the boat and the insurance, boat, man, you know. Let me hop through a few other things. So there are rewrite policies. Don't worry, these are in your agent back office. So don't stress out about these. These may be changing very soon too, but just some states have rewrites. That's why one of the biggest things we do is rewrite the policies for as long as possible. So just in case so they don't have these little gaps. So I'm going to quickly do a recap here. As I'm doing the recap, type your questions in for me, only based on the short term though. We're sticking with just short term questions. So here it uses the Aetna Open Choice PPO network. They do get that life association. There are a ton of options to fit. They do get a $50 access fee with urgent care. You can write it as young as 60 days old and guaranteed issue is available. The application fee, it should be available on your guys' quoting link. It's either $50 or less. So a question says, if the short term expires, how long can they keep the association membership? I believe it's till they're 65. So they would just keep, as long as they keep paying the association fee, they can keep that. Okay. I think I'm going to see. So I'm not going to be able to send out the PowerPoint, but this is a recording that I know Mark is going to be posting. So don't worry, you can go through this at any time, as well as I'm going to show you a YouTube channel that we host at National General who has all this product information. I can actually pop up the YouTube channel really quick. So here it is. It's National General Accident and Health in YouTube, and that's where you can go through to take a look at how to work your agent back office, for example, the short-term medical products. It has all of our products on there, as well as how to do a voice verification and a quote walkthrough. But no, I will not be sending out this PowerPoint. And actually, Mark already added the training channel on there, so just go to Mark's channel and you will be able to find us. So please just go and do that. So don't worry about getting a link to the YouTube channel. It's already been taken care of for you guys. So what happens after the 12-month period ends? So he's saying, what happens after the 3x4s end? Yeah, it's just a rewrite, not a big deal. There is a voice verification process option out there. I'm going to go through it at the end, so please hold that question. So the question for under urgent care visits, what all apply to deductible and coinsurance? First off, the deductible is waived on urgent care. The deductible is waived. Everything at the urgent care other than the doctor visit is applied to the coinsurance. The one caveat, though, that I've had an issue with myself is that let's say they go to the urgent care and they wind up having to get an MRI. Let's use that example. They have to get an MRI. If they mail out the reading of the MRI, that's not covered under the urgent care. Then that would be subject to the deductible because it's mailed out to a third party. That hurt me. We'll just put that nicely. So yep, rewrite. So if there's any gap, then they have to go back through the rewrite. So after the 12-month, the 3x4 ends, it'd be whatever that state's rewrite process is. If you're in the awesome state of Florida, which I'm very jealous of your guys' rules, your rewrites are amazing. So don't have to panic about that. So the question came up here about the coinsurance. Do you have to have 100% coinsurance? You don't have to. I personally like to sell them just because with 100% coinsurance there, that's when they get the urgent care benefit. But if you're selling a plan, for example, like we have a 2,500 that has a max out of pocket, $2,500 deductible, max out of pocket of $4K, meaning that coinsurance is $1,500. That means your client's eventually going to pay $1,500 at the urgent care, when for $20, $30 more a month, they could have 100% coinsurance. Do what's best by the client. And my concept of best by the client is I usually try to pitch the 100%. As far as it goes, what's the cost of Life Association? It should be about $50 a month. So if they want to keep that along, it's about $50 a month. And the question came up, the differences in the levels. We're going to hit that in a minute, so hold on that. Al, you just made me laugh really hard. Remember, CALIF stands for Come and Live in Florida. I'm actually debating on moving to Florida. Funny enough. Okay, so there's all of the short-term questions there. So we're going to jump into the plan enhancer. For the sake of time, I'm going to get moving so I don't get nasty grams here. Oh, life is $20 in Florida. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I appreciate your help there. So if someone goes to the hospital, does the plan pay for all medical expenses? Keep in mind, are they going in the hospital for pre-ex? Because if so, that's going to be not covered. And the policy also, as we went over, excludes prescription. So if they're in the hospital, there might be a little caveat there. Common for short terms, it's kind of weird. Okay, we have plan enhancer questions coming. So I'm going to hold the plan enhancer questions to the end. For the sake of time, we're going to be plowing through some of this. So plan enhancer, you guys are actually rock selling the plan enhancer. So I'll see if you teach me anything. That'd be kind of fun. So the accident medical expense comes with 2 riders if you choose to do so. I choose to do so at least. The cancer, heart, and stroke rider and sickness hospitalization benefits are all the way up to 10 grand, and the accident medical expense and the cancer, heart, stroke are both guaranteed issue. Benefit options available, I'll hit this as quick as I can, is 2,500, 5K, 7,150, 7,500, and 10K. I know there's no 7,350 on there. That's supposed to match the max out of pocket for this year. What they suggest is just sell the 7,500. Why? Because it does coordinate with the max out of pocket. So you want to make sure your client has that coverage available, right? Think of it as insurance for your insurance. So as long as they have the coverage available, they won't technically profit from it. So if their max out of pocket is 7,300 and you sell them the 7,500, that means they could get up to 7,300 in benefits. How it works is that there is a $250 deductible per occurrence, as long as the occurrence is an accident. I can tell you some of the really funny stories my clients had on here, but I'm technically recorded, so I can't. So $250 deductible per occurrence. So if they go in and they have a $5,000 accident, that means we're actually going to send them a check for $4,750. We're not going to say pay me $250. That's not okay. We're going to send them the check for $4,750. It does come with an accidental death and dismemberment, or AD&D. It does match the benefit level depending on what benefit level you pick, right? So if you sell $5,000, that means they get a $5,000 AD&D. There is no waiting period, so this policy can start as soon as tomorrow. So if you sell it, it starts tomorrow, they get injured tomorrow, we'll pay that out. And it is guaranteed issue. What is MOOP? That stands for the max out of pocket. That's going to be their deductible and coinsurance added together. So let's jump into that. So here's an example of Mark. I don't know why this one makes me laugh, but here's Mark. He's super happy. He's painting and fell off the ladder and broke his hip. And he's still smiling. He has a $5,000 out-of-pocket limit and $5,000 plan enhancer. His cost of treatment's almost 13 grand. His medical plan paid the 9 grand, so anything past that $5,000. And so we sent Mark a check for $4,750, and his responsible is $250. So instead of him being out $5,000, he was only out $250. It's pretty extreme. So here we're going to jump into the cancer, heart, stroke rider. So keep in mind, with the plan enhancer, you can sell it as a standalone. I recommend doing it, especially if you're starting to just sell in the supplement market. This plan enhancer is really great. Why? Because A, it's inexpensive. B, it's been around for a really long time. And C, it's just really great for the customer. You're really helping support them financially and making sure that they don't go completely bankrupt just due to what's happening. So when you do that, the plan enhancer can be cheap, $20 or less a month, just to guarantee them that they're not going to be out, 5 grand, 10 grand when they get into an accident. But for about an additional $20 a month, you can add a cancer and heart stroke rider. What that will do, it will actually match the AME benefit amount. So if you're selling a $5,000 plan enhancer, you can add on a $5,000 cancer, heart, stroke rider. What it will do, it will pay a lump sum payment for their first ever covered cancer diagnosis and first ever covered heart attack or stroke. So they get 2 buckets there, one for cancer, one for heart attack and stroke, and this is guaranteed issue. It does have a 90-day waiting period for cancer and a 30-day waiting period for heart attack or stroke. Keep in mind, this does have to be sold with the plan enhancer, not as a standalone. You do have a standalone cancer and heart stroke policy out there, but the benefit levels are way higher. This is just a nice little add-on for your client. So hey, if you wind up getting into an accident, it's going to be $250. If you wind up getting diagnosed with cancer, this is going to give you the $5,000 that will match your max out of pocket. Keep in mind, it is a lump sum benefit. So if they wind up, you sell them a, say a $10,000 plan enhancer, they have a $5,000 max out of pocket, it means they could walk away with about 5 grand. Here's an example really quick. Eric has a routine colonoscopy and found out he had colon cancer. It's a $5,000 out of pocket limit and a 5K plan enhancer. Cost of treatment's 14 grand. His medical plan paid the 9, leaving him $5,000 responsible. He got a 5 grand check from us. So if he was smart and put it towards his medical bills, be like Eric, be smart, he'd be responsible for nothing. So the cancer, heart, stroke here rider, as I said before, it is about $20 a month on top of the cost of the accident medical expense. I had that question pop up here. So here's, seems like everybody's favorite. So we can also add on to that plan enhancer a sickness hospitalization rider. What that does, it matches the AME benefit amount. So whatever dollar amount you've picked, let's say $5,000, it will match that. And they do get a lump sum benefit for first day of covered hospital admission for an unexpected sickness. So not something like pregnancy or calf implants. Those don't count. They do get 1 benefit per year per person and 2 benefits per year per family. There is a 30-day waiting period before they can start using those benefits. And keep in mind, it can't be sold as a standalone. It does go along with the AME. And again, this one is probably an additional $20 a month, just to give you guys a good price range. It is not available in the $75,000 or $10,000 benefit level. So the highest benefit this goes is up to $7,150. And here's an example. Donna was admitted to the hospital with pneumonia. She had a $5K out-of-pocket limit and a $5K plan enhancer. Cost of treatment, $93. Primary medical plan, $43. Sickness paid, gave her a lump sum check for $5 grand. She put it towards her medical bills. Keep in mind, this product can be sold as a standalone. If you're selling it with a short-term and the short-term medical policy terms or ends, that's fine. They can choose to keep this policy as long as they want. All of our National General products here that I'm talking to you about can be sold as a standalone. Everything in our portfolio can be sold by itself. And if a product ends, they can keep it. If they have a group insurance through an employer, that's fine. They can keep this. It'll just help pay for that group insurance. So a question came, so only the plan enhancer benefits are tied to the max out-of-pocket in an accident. Correct. Do the critical illness and sickness benefits pay if the max out-of-pocket is already reached? Yes. They will pay on top. It's a lump sum benefit for the cancer and the sickness, where the plan enhancer coordinates benefits with the max out-of-pocket. So the cancer and heart, stroke, and sickness rider will pay a lump sum no matter what your max out-of-pocket is. So let's go through some exclusions quick. Anything prior to the effective date. Had a guy fall off his boat and injure himself really bad, called me up on his way to the hospital asking for us. It was kind of an odd no. Dental treatment except otherwise covered by dental injury, hernia or heat exhaustion, mental or emotional disorders are excluded. War, acts of war, that's on all of our policies. Hazardous activities, those are really fun things like bungee jumping, paragliding, ultralight flying, jumping out of airplanes, rock climbing, anything really fun like that. That's more of an extreme sport is excluded, as well as hazardous occupations, and those things are like mining, logging, those type of areas. Anything intentional or self-inflicted are also excluded from the policy, so they can't purposely hurt themselves and hope that it gets paid. Our cancer, heart, stroke rider, it is a 24-month pre-X as far as it goes for the look back on that for claims. Legal drugs are excluded, self-inflicted, and for the sickness hospitalization, it's a 12-month pre-X. But it will not pay for weight control, self-inflicted, cosmetic, treatment outside a hospital. And keep in mind, on the back of your brochure, we'll have a really good list of these. State availability, it's great. If you guys sell in more than one state, which you guys do, this is really awesome, just not in the horrible state of Minnesota. I can say horrible because that's where I'm from. Eligibility, this changed on you. So AcciMed medical expense, yes, you can write a child only up to age 64. We changed the cancer and heart stroke rider for you guys to make it better. So now the primary just has to be 18 through 64. You just can't do a child only, obviously. Here's an example of this person who got into an injury, had the plan enhancer as well as the foundation health, just the way the benefits stacked up. So they're walking their dog and injured their shoulder, resulting in surgery. Cost of treatment was $9,300. With the plan enhancer and the foundation health, they actually wound up leaving about $884. So review of the plan enhancer, I'm going to answer questions now. So it's an accident medical expense, meaning that it's going to help pay for their max out-of-pocket due for any resultant injuries due to an accident. Biggest word here is going to be accident. So just not going to pay for anything. The accident medical expense only pays for what they've paid into their max out of pocket due to an accident. Cancer, heart, stroke rider is available there, as well as the sickness hospitalization. Wide benefit range. There are no network restrictions, so they can go to any doctor or hospital, and is available in a large number of states. Let me tackle these now. Question came up about the literature stating that it's 59. The literature should be updated there, Scott. It's actually, as you saw, 64 for the CHS and SIP riders. So that should be fixed for you. Those exclusions I went over are on the back of your brochure, so please take a look at that. Motorcycle riding hazardous. For the most part, no, as long as they're not going to do it for financial compensation or if they are doing it professionally. So if they're just like, a bike rider, that's fine. But keep in mind their injuries are more than likely going to be covered under their motorcycle insurance. Bug bite, I don't believe, is an accident. Sorry. The AME, yes. Is it going to be paid to the member directly? Correct. Yep. Danielle, that's we can talk about that one offline. Driving NASCAR for fun is definitely excluded. Doesn't have medical for bike insurance. Carlos, I'm going to give you an email address at the end to email me. I'd like to look into that one a little more. It does not cover anything as far as it goes for drugs. If they go in due to drugs, no, it's going to be excluded. Drug use is definitely excluded on here. First, and I had an accident. Ooh, Charlotte, I want to answer yours. This one's fun. So if Eric had cancer first and then had an accident, will he get another 5K since he technically has no out-of-pocket? No. So if he had cancer first and he met his max out-of-pocket due to cancer and got into an accident, he wouldn't get any benefits for the accident medical expense. It coordinates with the max out-of-pocket. If there's no max out-of-pocket, there's no benefits. Ooh, Charlotte, you're thinking today. You're killing it. Okay, so if I have a 12-month plan enhancer or a 12-month short term and it resets every 3 months, will the 5K AME cover them each quarter? Yeah, it's a keep in mind it's a $250 deductible per occurrence, but as long as there is a max out of pocket to reach, as long as there are unreimbursed medical expenses, that's the technical term, right? As long as there are unreimbursed medical expenses, so as long as they're paying into their max out of pocket due to an accident, yeah, it's going to keep paying. Okay. Let me check my time clock, how I'm doing. I'm doing horrible, but I'm going to keep going. If that's okay with everybody. So if you want to see the claims experience, go to this website, ngah-ngic.com. That's going to have all of your claim information for you. So you can go through and it will actually walk you through the claims process for the client on every single product. And Michael, I'll type that one to you privately really quick. Perfect. So for those of you that didn't hear it, it's ngah- so that's the one right by the 0, ngic.com. That's also in your agent guide, which is attached to your handout sections. So let's jump into this critical illness product here. So lump sum payment for 15 critical conditions, meaning that doesn't matter what their max out of pocket is, you choose a dollar amount, and if they get diagnosed with a critical illness, they will get a lump sum payment. 15 critical conditions. There are 4, though, that they get a partial payment on. It does pay on top of benefits from any other policy. It ranges up to $100,000, and it doesn't matter what doctor or hospital they go to. The critical illness benefits here, these are the 5 benefit levels. There's a $2,500, a $30,000, a $50,000, or $25,000, $30,000, $50,000, $75,000, and $100,000 there. Up to 100% of the CI benefit, they do have a term life there, payable to age 80. It is a 10-year term life. So it's written on a term life chassis, meaning you do have to be life insurance. You do have your life insurance license to write it. Covered conditions. So as I said, you can write this up to $100,000. For the sake of math, I'm going to use that example. So they would get the full benefit here. So invasive, if they get diagnosed with invasive cancer, have their first ever heart attack, kidney failure, coma, blindness, deafness, paralysis, loss of limb, major burn, those happen, they get a $100,000 check, right? If you've ever had a critical illness, do you know over half the cost of the critical illness isn't your medical bills? It's actually going to be paying for, your housing, keeping food on the table, clothing on your back. That's why these policies are important. For those of you that met me in person, would know that I've actually had a critical illness. And it is expensive. You literally can't do anything. You can't go to work. You have no way to bring in an income. So how are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to pay your rent? That is why we sell these policies, and that's why they're important. They do adjust based on age, so please don't ask me what's the price. Go into your quoting software and just take a look, run yourself a quick quote there. The nice thing is the quoting software is quick and efficient. These bottom 4 though, coronary artery bypass graft, non-invasive cancer, advanced Alzheimer's disease, and heart valve surgery, they would get 25% of whatever their benefit is. So $25,000 for the sake of math there. If we do pay out a partial payment, so the $25K, and another one happens, so let's say heart valve surgery, we paid out that 25%, and then they lost a limb, they would only get 75% of the benefits that remain. So critical illness benefits here, here's an example. This is Kent, happily fishing. Kent's fishing there, and he has a $50,000 critical illness benefit. 3 years later, he got diagnosed with prostate cancer. We sent him a check for $12,500. Probably helped pay for his mortgage, helped support the family a little bit as he's going through treatment. And then 5 years later, had a heart attack. He'd get the remaining 75%. Some of the weird conversations I have though when I'm talking about this product, people say, my spouse isn't working. I don't need to get the critical illness benefits on them. Well, you'd be surprised how much daycare costs. If that other spouse gets sick and you have a stay-at-home spouse, they're doing a lot around the house. So all of a sudden, no one's going to be cleaning the house, doing laundry, going grocery shopping. Those bills add up. Everybody brings a lot of value, so I recommend getting it on both the primary and spouse, if at all possible. So here's some exclusions for you. So pre-existing conditions are excluded, or cancer diagnosed within 90 days, or sickness within 30. Wars or acts of war, I've hit that one up quite a few times. Mental illness, illegal acts, hazardous occupations, aviation, unless as a fare paying passenger, don't type that question in, or complications due to cosmetic surgery are also not covered. How long does it take to get the claims paid out? Depending on when they submit the claim process, 30, 45 days. Question came up, is there a paper quote guide sheet? I do not have paper quote guide sheets. Our legal and marketing have not approved any of those for us. So unfortunately, my answer is going to be no, not on any product. I don't have a quick guide sheet or quick quote sheet. State availability here, anything in yellow as usual. Hopefully we got used to that. Everything in yellow does have the product available. Your wonderful state of Florida does. My state of California, you guys leave that joke alone, does not. Scott, I believe a roofer and a shingler is considered a hazardous occupation. I do. Okay, let's keep this going. Eligibility, 18 through 59 at the time of application. Spouse coverage is going to be same as primary. There are no dependent child coverage on this product. Renewable to 65, and I just wanted to say, yes, it does have a health questionnaire like the short term. All critical illness products do. The advantage of this product versus others in the industry, you're going to find out at time of application if they're approved or not. A lot of them are going to say, hey, give me 3 to 5 days to get back to you. This one, if your client doesn't qualify for it, you click the wrong button, it's just going to say, take this out of your cart. That's what I like about it as somebody who has done a ton of critical illness in his day. Here's an example of somebody who has a heart attack, okay? They have a $25,000 critical illness plus a plan enhancer with that cancer, heart, stroke rider. Take a look at these benefits that they get. It's pretty great. So please keep that in mind, that these are important for people to help pay for their living expenses. So I'm going to tackle these questions really quick as I do the review. So lump sum cash benefit, keep that in mind. Your client gets that check for the lump sum benefit of 15 eligible conditions, even though 4 of them are paid at 25%. Does come with a 10-year term life insurance, a wide benefit range. They can pick any doctor or hospital and available in a large number of states. Let's see what questions I have here. Underwriting guide. So check your the agent guide on the right-hand side there in the handouts. That's going to be the underwriting guide. The reason why they don't have a generic underwriting guide is some questions do change by state, but check your agent guide or on the right-hand side, NGH-product guide. There is a difference in premium if you're covering a spouse compared to just the primary, but whoever you have in the quoting software, it's going to quote for everybody all the way through. Okay. Really quick question popped up there. Let me see if I can tackle it. So if you're worried about things like non-invasive skin cancer, non-invasive cancer is first off going to be paid at 25%, but I like to sell the TrioMed for those kinds of things, just because I'll go through how the critical illness benefits work. TrioMed, this is the #1 product that my company sells as far as National General goes. Why? Because it's a combination of an accident medical expense with a critical illness and an accidental death and dismemberment. So if you are new to supplements and you're saying, I know why to sell them, I just don't know the how, this is the best one to start with. Absolutely best one to start with. Why? Because it has everything your client needs wrapped into one package, and it is available in a guaranteed issue product. It's huge. So why sell supplements? Hopefully you know this. It actually is going to give the protection of healthcare costs back to the consumer. With these raising deductibles, it's becoming really hard for your clients to pay for their medical costs. That's why we sell them. Nobody plans on getting into an accident. If they do, they got issues. No one plans on getting a critical illness. They happen. So we help cover for just the unexpected. So for this guaranteed issue product, it is available in a $2,500, a $5,000, and a $10,000. Keep in mind that is the benefit amount for the accident medical expense and the critical illness and the accidental death and dismemberment. So if you sell the $5,000, it's a $5,000 AME and a $5,000 CI and a $5,000 AD&D. There's a standard issue available. It is a little more inexpensive. How this one works is that the AME and the AD&D are both $5K, but the critical illness amount you can choose anywhere between 15 or 30K. Accident medical expense works pretty similar to the one that we already went through. You just don't get the riders here. So this is just the accident medical expense. So $250 deductible, keep that in mind, coordinates with the max out of pocket. They just have to seek treatment for their accident within 30 days and follow-up all has to be done within 26 weeks. Who would seek treatment within 30 days for an accident? I broke my ankle and it took me 7. So don't be shocked. There are dumb people like me out there in the world. So for the critical illness, this is where it's actually going to differ and change a little bit. So how this works is that they get that accident medical expense, but they also get a critical illness. And how this critical illness here works, it's divided into 3 covered categories, and they do get a lump sum payment per category. So they could actually get 3 payouts here. Keep in mind, benefits are payable for first diagnosis only, and there are no waiting periods. Category 1 here, it would be they get 100% of the benefit level if they had a heart attack, stroke, or a major organ transplant related to the heart. Now they would get a 25% payout if they had a coronary bypass surgery or heart valve replacement or repair. How it works though is if they've used the 25%, it's a one and done per category. So for example, if they had a coronary bypass surgery and we pay out 25% and later on they have a stroke, they've already used that benefit up. But they would have category 2 and 3 that they could get benefits from. Category 2, they would get 100% of whatever benefit level you've picked if they get diagnosed with invasive cancer, and 25% if they get diagnosed with cancer in situ, and that's cancer that has not spread to neighboring tissue. If they are diagnosed within the first 90 days, though, they would get only 10% of whatever payout would be for cancer, just for category 2. Category 3, it's like that junk drawer in your kitchen, you're not sure what to put in it, so this is where we put this. So it's coma, severe burns, paralysis, motor neuron disease, ALS, advanced Alzheimer's, or major organ transplant, excluding those from category 1. So keep in mind, if you sell a $10,000 Triomed, if they have a heart attack, they would get 10 grand. And then later on they get diagnosed with cancer, they'd get 10 grand. And later on they have a major organ transplant, they'd get another 10 grand. So they could actually get 3 possible payouts here with this critical illness, and that's why people love it. The payout does change if it is a primary or spouse though. So 100% for primary, they get 50% of the benefits for spouse and 25% if it is a child. They do get an AD&D. I don't like to talk about it too much because you sound kind of twisted, but they do get 100% of whatever benefit amount you pick if they've had an accidental death or if they've lost both hands or entire sight in both eyes. They do get 50% if they lose one hand and one foot, or one hand or one foot, and then there's the 25% category. Keep in mind the benefits do change if it is the primary and spouse who have that or the child. Exclusions here would be full-time armed forces, eligible for Medicare, disabilities worker comp, intentional self-inflicted, illegal acts, hazardous occupations, or some sports. Question came up earlier about the differences in this life association compared to the short term. Biggest difference you are going to notice is going to be there is no well card here, but they do get the telemedicine, and this is a cheaper life association, which is awesome. The average cost on here, I would personally run a quote, I'd say 50 bucks. Just keep your costs there safe. Sell it, it is going to work great. Your clients really like it, and we get amazing feedback on it. Is there a cost savings of doing a husband and wife on the same policy? Yeah, there is a cost savings, and that's why they do it. Technically, you're not supposed to do it on separate because we can't have multiple life associations on individual people. Hold on. Here is the state availability. It is a little smaller footprint there. For the guaranteed issue, the simplified issue is in a few other ones there. So for example, the nice thing with this coverage is if you are selling it to somebody who maybe bought a short term through United Healthcare or has a Blue Cross Blue Shield major medical, you can add this on. You can sell it. It's going to work with whatever they have. You can sell it as a standalone. With all of the products we go through, they don't have to have the NatGen short term. If you're talking to somebody who says, you know what, I already have coverage, I don't need to talk to you. No, you have all these great supplements that can help them in case of a big bill. So, okay, I understand you have coverage. What's your max out of pocket if you get into an accident? How'd you like me to make that $250? So just a few talking points for you. Eligibility here is 18 through 64 at time of application. Children are on their parents' plan up to age 26, and it is guaranteed renewable up to age 70. Just the critical illness benefits are reduced by half after age 65. So reviewing that and answering a few questions. So it is an AME, CI, AD&D all in one. It does come with that life association. You saw that state footprint out there. It does have 3 possible critical illness payouts, a $250 deductible, and guaranteed issue is available. So a few questions popped up. If they found out they have a pre-existing condition, an undisclosed pre-existing condition found when the claim process, yeah, that would be declined because it would be due to the look back period. Good question. If they go on vacation, would they still get the benefits paid? Yes, they would, because the AME is going to mimic their max out of pocket and the critical illness. So let's say they're going on vacation in Minnesota, a state where this isn't there, and the dad has a stomach pain and goes to the doctor and finds out he has stomach cancer. He would get it paid out. Doesn't matter what doctor or hospital, they just have to purchase it in the state where it is available. Okay, last quick product overview, super quick for you guys, is going to be the accident fixed benefit. I know when I was talking to you guys last time, there's a ton of interest in it. Unfortunately, due to time, I'm not going to spend a lot on it, but we have a great video on it on YouTube, which I know Mark has there for you guys. So just go to his YouTube channel and you should be able to find it without an issue. So they get set cash benefits for each covered injury or service. This is like a fixed, well, this is a fixed benefit product, okay, first off. It is very cheap in the state of Florida. It's like $9. There are 2 levels to pick from. Don't ever sell a benefit level 1, always sell a level 2. And it does pay on top of benefits from other plans. That's why this is powerful. Keep in mind, all these are due to an accident. So for example, if they wind up having to have an emergency treatment, you sell a level 2. If it's an adult, they have an emergency treatment, they get $100. If they have to go in for a major diagnostic exam, they get $200. They get admitted into the hospital for at least 24 hours. We're going to send them $1,000 plus $500 a day in addition to a hospital stay benefit. And this is literally for $9 a month. It's ridiculous. Surgery within 1 year, they can have up to $2,500 per surgery. I don't know why more people don't have this product. Most agents I know actually have bought it for themselves. Specific conditions here, they would get a fixed benefit level. For example, if they wind up with burns, they could get up to a $25,000 check. Coma, 20 grand. Paralysis, $25,000 to $50,000. And this is a fixed benefit check that goes directly to the consumer. Doesn't matter on their max out of pocket or who their major medical or short term is through. For example, if they need prosthesis, they get a check for $750. For physical therapy related to an accident, they get $2,500 a day, up to 10 days per treatment. For ambulance, everyone says ambulances are so expensive. Yeah, you're right, they are. But at least here they would get a $200 benefit. That's better than nothing. And it also comes with accidental death and dismemberment. So up to $50,000 for an adult, $20,000 for a child, for $9 a month. Like what? So all the brochures are going to be on your quote link. So any of these products that we are going through, you can feel free to check the YouTube channel that Mark has put there, as well as all the brochures will have all this information in depth. So here, example, John has an auto accident. This is one of the few accident plans that will pay on top of auto policies. So he got a $200 benefit for transportation to a hospital, $1,000 for hospitalization. You can see a fractured hand. He walked away with $3,455 for a $9 plan. Exclusions here, so sickness, anything intentional, self-inflicted, members of the armed forces, cosmetic or elective, racing a vehicle. I'm nailing that one out right now. Racing a vehicle, sporting activity for pay or services outside the US and Canada. Here's the availability. It's awesome. Like you have almost every state minus Hawaii and Minnesota that no one likes anyway. So that's, even though that's where the Super Bowl is, come on guys, give Minnesota a little credit. Primary applicant, 18 through 64 at time of application, children up to age 18, and it is renewable for life. Just a quick review, it is cash benefits to help with the unexpected. Easy to understand, easy to use. Our clients who have bought this keep it for forever. So sell it, it has really good retention. No annual or lifetime limits, and here's my favorite thing, it's renewable for life. So this one's easy. Quick thing for you. Attached is an agent guide. Also on the top of your quoting links, you will have an agent guide at all times. Please check in. I know a few of the questions I've answered are available in the agent guide. Your first resource should be to look here. If you're asking, how do I file a claim? Guess what? It's in the agent guide. When do people get their ID cards? Guess what? That's in the agent guide. Who's the underwriter on this product? I get that question a lot. It's in the agent guide. Okay. Any questions as far as it goes to claims on any of the products are going to be in the agent guide. Effective dates, you can see we have some funky effective dates for like that Foundation Health or the AcciMed agent guide. So feel free to take a look at this. It also is going to tell you if it's guaranteed issue or not. Here's another one for you, part of the agent guide. I'm trying to sell this for you guys to use it as hard as I can. So please use the agent guide if I haven't said that 47 times yet. It's also going to go through what ages can you enroll people in, right? So, hey, What ages can I enroll people? Is it for child only? I get that question a lot. Agent guide there. When does the coverage end? I'm going to say it one last time. Agent guide. So please take a look at it. I've attached it on the right-hand side. Please use it. It's also going to answer any payment questions that you may have, but keep in mind, just use the agent guide. And as far as it goes for payment, keep in mind all payments are drawn out at time of application. Okay, the monthly payments are going to be drawn out 10 days before the monthly anniversary. Product, or 5 days before the monthly anniversary. Sorry, 5 days before the monthly anniversary on all products will they get their payments drawn out there. With all products, your clients will have to either do a voice verification, so yes, they can call to verify, or an e-signature. I'm going to quickly hit these, but I have a great training video that is available for you. When your client enrolls, they will get an email from NHIC admin, and it's going to say you need to go through and create a VIPmemberbenefits.com account. It has all the information they need to create that account. It takes about a minute or two to do. They need to log in, and the very first thing that's going to happen is saying you need to e-sign your policy. This is by far the easiest method. I recommend doing it every chance, but again, you're going to work with people who don't have a computer. If they don't, at the end of every application, so don't worry about writing this down. Please don't write it down. Just pay attention. At the end of every application, you're going to get a phone number that you can three-way call with your client on the phone. So you and your client both have to be on the phone. Your client can't do this by themselves. You have to be with them, where they're going to present you a script to read verbatim for your client, and they have to attest. It takes like 20 minutes. E-sign. Get your clients to e-sign their policies. Also, as far as it goes, your client will get all their documents access at nghdocuments.com. That is in your agent guide. And their ID cards will arrive separately in the mail. So the products that will have the ID cards are the dental, which you guys don't sell, and the short-term medical. So and the foundation health. Those two products, they will get the ID cards mailed to them. But they can get temporary ID cards or view their policy and change payment types through their VIPmemberbenefits.com account. If your client ever has cancellation issues or needs to change their payment types or address and can't get access, they can call this member services number. That is in your agent guide as well. And I'm going to hang here for a few minutes to answer questions. I do apologize, guys. I went over on my time. Our session actually filled up, and we may be having another session in the future, hopefully next week. I know it's a discussion that Mark and I will be having. If you have questions, your first thing you should do is talk to your upline. So talk to your manager, supervisor, leader, whatever your term for that is, and then take a look in your product guide. Okay, they will have the answer more than likely. Give me 1 second here, and I'll sit here for questions. Perfect. Yeah, so the NGH-product guide, good question, Ivan. That is the agent guide. I always called them agent guides. I've been around for way too long. I don't know, I'm sorry. Product guide, you're right, Ivan. Good correction on me. Plan enhancer brochures, can you order them? You know what, Michael? Go to the ngah-ngic.com and take a look at it there. I'll send you that again privately. Perfect. I'm just answering a few questions here. If you have any other, feel free to type them in. The accident plan, does the client have to give from the doctor? Jim, good question. Check that product guide on the right-hand side and it'll give you all the answers. If not, I'm going to send you a website that will also give you all the answers for that, because it's going to be slightly different per product. So there you go. This one. Okay. Donnie, I don't know if you're still on, but let me check through. With the plan to answer critical illness, is it plan? So the question is, if they have a plan enhancer with the critical illness or with the cancer, heart, stroke, and sickness rider, yeah, they could actually get one payout from each of them. So they may get a payout for the accident, and then later on they might get a payout for the critical illness, and later on they might get a payout for the sickness. So the answer is definitely a big, big, big yes for you. So question is, can they get hard copies of their policy? They're not going to get hard copies mailed, but let me see if I can go back here. They'll get it right here at the nghdocs.com. It takes about 14 days for their policy to arrive in there. They will get a copy, though, of their attestation right away through the VIP member benefits, Aaron, but as far as it goes for the copies of the policy, it's going to be through the NGH docs. Is that right? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I really appreciate all your time. I'm just plowing through them here. You can feel free to drop off at this time. I know this training is recorded, so you will have access to it later. I'm going to be shooting it over there. It will be uploaded. Also, you have a link to my YouTube channel. You have that product guide as a resource, as well as that ngh-ngic.com, and that would have all of your other questions there. That will have your product brochures as well as your product brochures there in Spanish. So I want to thank everybody today for their time. I will answer a few more questions, but if you don't have any, feel free to drop off.